What is up, basketball fans, and welcome back to Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast, where we're going to talk about Joel Embiid being out for the rest of the season. We're going to do a Zing or Zang segment talking about ethical or non-ethical rebuilds in the NBA, and we're going to talk about the risers and fallers falling into just the depths of hell in the NBA standings. We're going to get into all of that on today's episode of Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast, brought to you by J Bar M. J Bar M Barbecue is just a couple blocks away from Toyota Center. We love J Bar M Barbecue over here at Apollo Media. And shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Go check them out today if you're in the Houston area. I am joined always by Josh Garcia and Sheldon Norrid. How we doing, boys?
Oh, we're back. The three-man weave is here. Sheldon, love the hat. Stone, the hat.
So
I've seen better hats from you.
Yeah, it just is circumstances today. The Stars playing in like 2 hours, and I was ready to watch the Stars. It's okay.
Exactly. You're matching. It's beautiful.
Oh.
Good to see you, boys.
Are you a Stars fan?
Hmm?
Do you hockey guy?
This guy likes hockey over here. He was okay.
Big
This
hockey
needs to be said. Stone, this needs to be said. You were watching the first 2 minutes of an outdoor hockey game instead of the end of Alabama versus Tennessee. That amazing buzzer beater that I saw live.
If you've listened to this podcast, Josh, once or twice, that you would know that I only watch Mississippi State basketball in Duke versus UNC. That is about the extent of it until March actually happens. And it was March yesterday, but it wasn't the March that mattered yet. SEC tournament's not here yet. I'll get there eventually.
It was SEC ball, though. This is what we do it for.
I don't fuck with either Tennessee or Alabama. So
there it is.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I was actually at a function yesterday, and there were some outdoor TVs, and me and my friends that were there took a group pic, and then we lingered and talked for too long, and then someone came up to us and was like, "Hey, can you move? You're in front of the TV."
Oh.
They were much nicer about it, and then we turned around and it was the end of the Tennessee-Alabama game, so we're like,
understandable.
Getting big dog like that stinks.
The hockey game was the largest outdoor hockey game of all time, 94,000 fans. So
wow, that's a lot of people. Wow,
kind of a big deal. Joel Embiid, he had an injury to his knee like last year and then never got it fixed and then came back and punched a reporter, and now he's out for the rest of the season. So
people forget that. People really forget that.
Played in the Olympics, punched a reporter.
People
pushed,
forget.
I think he pushed, but yeah.
Why did he play for the Olympics?
He was looking for a passport.
That's wow. I'm glad he did it then, because now it's looking a little grim for those.
Bleak. Yeah,
like
he's having some kind of crazy surgery where they're going to take like bone out of his hip maybe and put it into his knee, I believe. And it seems a little wild. And for a 7'1", 7'2" large man that plays basketball for a living, that seems like a not ideal situation to happen for the guy.
Joel Embiid clinical trials, that would rip.
Is Joel Embiid this generation's Bill Walton?
Oh, you're just asking the questions, but I can't say no. He has to win a ring first.
I don't think
Who was
so.
more accomplished? Yeah,
it's Walton because he won MVP and then Finals MVP in the same season in '77, right? And then he wins another championship in what was it, '86 with the Celtics, and he was Sixth Man of the Year. I think that's a bigger height, even though Embiid had his MVP season with 36 and 12 or whatever he got that season. Like he was a really good. He was the best center scorer that we've seen in a long time in the NBA that season. But yeah, I think Bill Walton's championship outweighs what Embiid's done, even if Embiid is technically the better scorer.
Definitely, like you're getting better stats, but even like at some point the team stuff matters much.
Yeah,
more.
but I mean, Walton was averaging 28 and 16 rebounds with almost 10 assists a game. He was like Luka Doncic or Jokic now. Like he was basically Jokic for the Trailblazers, but he only had that 1 year.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy that Bill Walton can be considered a what if, and he has those accomplishments under his belt.
Yeah.
So
they do it to T-Mac all the time.
He didn't win anything.
No rings.
Yeah. See, that's what I think.
Individual basis.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Embiid probably closer to a T-Mac than a Bill Walton, but I don't know. T-Mac's probably a little underrated because of what injuries did to his career. So
right.
I don't even know if that's true. I think most people have a lot of respect for him, but he was on that really good Rockets team and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, but I don't think. Hopefully, it's not the end for Joel, just because I hate rooting for the downfall of players on injuries. I'd much rather it happen ethically on the court. like it has for most of his career.
Stone's smirk in the corner.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I
Yeah.
dislike Joel Embiid. I have for several years now. We're coming up on a decade of me just not liking Joel Embiid.
I mean, I'm
legitimately-
not like a fan.
No, it happened in the 2016-2017 season. I was like, I don't like the cut of this guy's jib. You know, I just don't like it. So we're coming up on 10 years of that. But
Jesus,
Yeah.
that's a
Screw
long
that guy's
time.
jib.
yeah,
you
I
go.
don't like the jib. But yeah, it sucks, especially for Sixers fans because they're some of the most passionate and terrible people to be fans of. They're just menaces to society. Good for them.
That's
They won a
right.
Super Bowl.
Oh
At
my
what
God.
cost? They lost Joel Embiid for the
Hey,
season.
future
Jared
star
McCain.
Quentin Grimes is.
Hey, you
is
make
up.
that trade 10 times out of 10.
And Jared McCain's out for the season. That was the herder. Like I hated
That
when
one
he went to the
stunk.
Sixers, but I was like, all right, I'll still root for the kid. And he was awesome for like 20 games. But
Yeah.
rip in peace.
Poor guy.
Yeah, rip the Sixers season. It was fun while it lasted. Podcast P saying he's not going to podcast anymore on his podcast, announcing that, and then Joel Embiid out for the season. Like the next day is while we go for this championship run, I believe was a quote from Podcast P.
Yep.
And then Joel Embiid's gone for the season. And
16 games under 500, by the way. He said we're going to focus on a playoff.
If I remember correctly, yeah, he's having the worst season like of his career.
Yes,
pretty
by far.
pretty close.
Since his rookie year, yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Worst season of his career. He looks old and slow. They're obviously not going to win a championship or get anywhere close. It's basically a lost season. He says that about the championship run. NBA Central, shout out NBA Twitter, NBA Central tweets it, that he said it. Everyone clowns him for it. Centel gets out of prison and then just tweets the exact same thing. Because it was just too good.
It was that funny.
Yeah.
They didn't even parody it.
What he should have said was like, I got to stop podcasting so we can focus on capturing the flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that would have been way better. And that should have been an NBA Centel tweet. I don't know why they didn't tweet that one out, but his actual quote worked for Centel as well.
Yeah. Or I got to stop podcasting so I can earn this max contract.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Welcome back, NBA Centel, though. We did a full episode on it last time. And like 6 hours after the podcast came out, and the Centel was back on Twitter.
It worked.
So welcome
Reverse
back, Centel. Every team,
jinxes are real, Sheldon. Wow.
Yeah, we talked about that pre-show. Every team basically started tweeting #FreeCentel, or we did it for Centel that night, and I thought that was an incredible, empowering group of social media admins. Great work from those teams.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So everyone was doing their self-righteous tour during the Free Centel thing too, where it was like a lot of reporters and stuff like that being like, if you're saying Free Centel, then screw you because you don't care about real journalism. It's like, hey, bro, if you just, read anything past like an initial tweet from a random account, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Like, if anything, it's like a V for Vendetta type of thing where like the fact that Centel exists is not like necessarily good, but it is doing good work in that it's exposing a lot of people, talking heads and stuff like that, who don't even like do any research or know what they're talking about. They just are repeating random stuff they see on Twitter. It's like, we didn't make you expose yourself.
No. The V for Vendetta TNT reruns on like a Saturday afternoon during like no season at all in particular. That's incredible. You just unlocked a part of my brain that was sitting on a couch downstairs in my house growing up, and V for Vendetta was just on TNT, and I was like, I guess we'll watch this. And it was on TNT
like, I guess I'm gonna
every day
overthrow the
after that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So good for V. That was a great pull there. Yeah. So welcome back, Centel. Rip in peace, Joel Embiid for the season. Joshua, you came up with this segment, a Zinger Zang, presented by America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. In America, zing zang. If you're not zinging or zanging, you're not with us. All right. So zing and zang responsibly with Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. This will be the ethical versus non-ethical rebuilds. Zinger Zang. Joshua, let's walk through this. Who are the ethicals in the rebuilding department this season in the NBA?
Well, first of all, thank you for the beautiful introduction. I would just like to introduce everyone to Josh's rebuild report presented by Zing Zang. The main idea was, of course, ethical versus non-ethical, but we'll call it Zing or Zang. So why don't we start off with the Detroit Pistons, who are just the most ethical team maybe in the NBA if they didn't have a certain player on their team who did bad things to other people. The way that they are a 6 seed right now, when we did not expect anything out of them. I probably maybe expected 30 wins in a perfect season or a perfect scenario. The squad's looking up over there. I'm a big fan of them, boys. Are we? What are we thinking? Are we a zinging or zanging on this Detroit Pistons team? I think they're a huge zing.
Very much a zing. Cade Cunningham, you take him number 1 overall in the draft, and you have high hopes for him. You think he's an elite player and all these things. He's a cornerstone, a franchise cornerstone, and you didn't get that the first few years just because of injuries and the roster that you built, and then your head coach that you gave, $80-90 million to, and then had to consequently fire pretty shortly after that. Huge success, huge zing for me. Didn't expect this in any way, shape, or form, but we'll say Tolu Smith gets signed to the G League team, and all of a sudden, they're in the playoff spot. And he's having 20 games in the G League. People forget. No, it's nothing to do with Tolu Smith. The Pistons are a lot of fun, and Cade Cunningham has turned into a top 15 player in the NBA this year, arguably.
Sure. I don't hate that at all. It's like the Centel tweet when they were talking about Doc Rivers taking coaching seriously, and then the Bucks end up being really good. The Detroit Pistons signed Tolu Smith to a 2-way deal, and they just start winning pretty much every game.
People forget.
Both hands up. I'm just saying, Stone. I'm sure you'd agree with me.
People forget. But yeah, Cade Cunningham is very much in play for third team All NBA this season.
I mean, I think you're going to see some people argue first or second too. Because he's I don't hate it. He's been that good. And then as far as guards go in the East, it's just a little less flashy of like who's good or bad. And so he might like rise to the top of that group, and it might help him even more. But yeah, they're like the easiest zing of the group, I think.
Definitely.
They're tough as nails. Scoring can come and go, but that's fine. They're a young team. They'll figure that out more and more. And I'm sure they'll kind of, trim the fat, add some better role players as time goes on. But Sar Thompson, Cade Cunningham, even I can't stand watching Isaiah Stewart play basketball. He's like Lou Dort light, but it works for them. Like he gives Lou them Dort fire.
Ethical Lou Dort.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's ethical, bro. He is one of those
compared to Lou Dort.
Yeah. He's another one of those I foul so much that the ref can't call all of them guys. And it irks me, but every team's got to have one, and he's theirs. And man, shout out to JB Bickerstaff. Thought was kind of a fraud with the Cavs, but it turns out like he makes tough basketball teams. So that's fun.
They're built like an SEC team too, like elite guard, and then just a bunch of bruisers and rebounding guys everywhere. It's like they play a lot of gross basketball, but it's working.
Yeah,
it's a real
and all this without Ivy too.
Yep, people do forget. Oh my God, yeah. Wow,
that'll be huge for them because he was playing pretty well before he got hurt.
Is he coming back at all this season?
I believe so.
I don't know.
I think he's like nearing a return right now.
Oh my God,
good. I missed that.
Yeah, I think I saw that a few days ago. Do you remember last year, Josh, when we did an episode and there was a part where you just remembered Jaden Ivey, and then we had to do like a full 15 minutes on
it? I don't remember that, but sure, we'll call
that. Happened. That happened in like March last year.
Jaden Ivey rocks. Like, oh my God! Every time I watch him play, like this man's great. Him on this Pistons team, and already they're like 9 out of their last 10. Like they've been playing like ridiculously well, like ridiculously good basketball. With Jaden Ivey in the mix now, of course you're going to see, I want to say redacted, but Malik Beasley's minutes being, kind of
first in threes in the NBA this year.
I wasn't going to say it. He's becoming a great basketball player. So that's good for him and Pistons fans who care. However, the rest of the team is awesome. I could stay here all day, but watching Asar Thompson like absolutely just put Jason Tatum in a blender, that made my entire week.
Yeah, I'm surprised Stone didn't send us a screenshot of Tatum's face during that. I was waiting for it.
It's pretty good. Screen painting. Oh my God, it was awesome.
It's pretty good.
So I don't need to talk
shout
about
out Asar.
Well,
everyone knows how I feel about him.
We're zinging the Detroit Pistons. We'll move on here to another team, the Portland Trail Blazers. This is the most ethical rebuild of the West, I'd say. Poop Henderson is poop no longer. He is poop no longer. We're watching pretty decent basketball out of the guy.
He's working towards graduation.
He's working towards graduation. Yeah, he's finishing up his sophomore year at Poop University.
Yeah.
He got his degree from the Crib
Oh,
University, and he's
gosh.
getting his master's at Poop University. He's almost done. And Shaden Sharp just dunking all over. Forgot who it was. Sorry,
That
but
dunk
that
was
clip,
insane.
that was the best dunk of the year, I'd like to say. Kamara, great basketball. Denny Advia, we don't have
Money.
to comment on that, but he is an active contributor towards a
On the court.
basketball team. Donovan Clingan looks amazing.
Why are you laughing, Stone? What's so
getting-
funny?
I can't do
What's
it.
so funny about
I
Denny
won't-
Nope.
Advia?
We're gonna give $5 billion to Denny Advia.
No.
I'm so glad the Trump voice finally made it on the pod. It happens before every episode for behind the scenes
Satirically.
look.
For
Satirically,
the listener out there. For the
it's
listener.
all fun and games back here. We all do the Trump voice right before the podcast starts to get it out, and I'm just finally glad that it finally slipped. It's almost slipped several times in the last month and a half,
Yeah.
and it finally broke through.
Oh,
So
we
good for
did
him.
it. We did
Watching
it, boy.
Josh and Stone's face was like a kid. A
He
kid
had to do it.
when the
Yeah,
mom is
no.
like, "Don't do it," and he's like, "I'm gonna do it."
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
No, it's
They-
in
they-
class, and they tell you to stop laughing, and you just look at your
Yes.
friend, and then you
Yeah,
just
you're just like, "Now
burst
it's
out
worse."
laughing. Yeah.
Oh, it's worse
I don't
now.
know if we'll ever be able to recreate this moment ever again, but
No.
us doing the Donald Trump. I'm saying before the show, us doing the Donald Trump voice, and then throwing Alexander Sarr fat farm jokes in there.
So good.
Yeah,
I don't think that'll
behind
ever
the
be able to be recreated.
No, it's a shame it wasn't recording already.
Anywho,
Next time.
the Portland Trailblazers, of course, Portland, crazy city. I would like to shout out to my friend on Twitter, Oscar. He posts the craziest fit pics of him in different jerseys. And he'll just say, he'll be in a public park and he'll just say, flexing in my Damian Lillard icon jersey. So shout out to Oscar, good guy.
My
Celebrated his
friend.
34th birthday the other day. So shout out to Portland, I guess.
Hakeem year.
There you go. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Shaq year.
Someone talk about Portland. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
That's all I got. They're a zing for me.
Very much a surprise this season.
Yeah.
I did not have any hopes for this team. I was like, maybe Donovan Clingan will be a decent rookie for him. Like, I don't know. And like he fell in the draft to him. I was like, that's not a bad spot for him to go. Like he can kind of go be a guy. And then Poop Henderson is evolving in front of our eyes, which
The Crib University.
Bill Simmons is never wrong. He
Oh
was
my
like,
That's
Scoot
right.
Henderson's the number one guy in this draft. I don't know why
The
anyone's looking at
only
him.
only person who thought highly of Scoot Henderson,
No, two of them, Ryan
Williams-
Russillo and Bill
William
Simmons.
Simmons.
Oh God, nightmare
Oh, my
blunt
sorry.
rotation.
I can't wait for the pod tomorrow. It's gonna be delightful. I'm so happy that those are back. But yeah, Blazers are a lot of fun and good for them. They're only one game back at the Phoenix Suns this year, which everyone saw coming, right?
Which is both gas for Portland and a huge indictment of the Suns.
We'll get
Yeah.
to them in a minute, but yeah,
Portland is one of those, like, they're just good enough to be a super annoying team to play against. And a lot of that's because of their young players are kind of finally panning out. And then they've got some guys who have stuck around for a while that have just become serviceable guys to have around that they'll eventually probably trade and get some more pieces or more picks. But yeah, Klingen's fun. Scoot's coming around. Sharp is fine. You know, he's like that microwave guy, dunks on people and kills them. And then
Sure.
occasionally will I mean, he does. I'm saying, like, he doesn't usually score super well, but then every now and then he just goes nuts. So
Yeah. That's
fine. You like having those guys, but they
the
play
coach
really
is
good
Papa
defense
Nicolau method.
sometimes.
Yeah, this is
Papa
this is
Nicolau.
true.
That's right.
gotta
But they-
get a good pull in there every once in a while.
They play tough, even though their coach, who will remain unnamed for similar reasons as other players, he gets them. They play hard, even though they're kind of middling as far as the roster goes. So,
Yep.
good for them. I
They're
think it's
they're a
zing.
team, and they have an identity now instead of just kind of middling towards the end of the standings. They have an identity, and if they were in the East, they'd probably have 35 wins by now at this
Yeah.
rate. So
And
good for them.
Honestly, getting Klingon was probably what put them over the top, being that they're like the widest metropolitan area in the country.
yeah.
They probably really needed a white guy.
Oh, dude.
Outside of Denny, yeah,
Outside of Denny Advia,
they needed a
ultimate
real white guy.
Well, like an American guy, you
Yeah,
know what I
they
mean?
needed an
An
American.
American.
Why did he fall? What did he fall to? 5, right?
Oh,
Was
not
it?
far.
7.
7. Oh my God, he was supposed to be a top 3 guy, like 3 or 4.
Yeah, everyone. I
That was
wanted
crazy
him on the
draft night.
Rockets, and you could trade Şengün.
No, okay.
All right.
Hey, you're the one that posted the JG Alperen Şengün numbers today, and we're getting cooked by Rockets Twitter. I don't know what to tell you.
Was I getting cooked, or were a lot of people exposing themselves for not being able to read?
Correct.
Oh, that's
No,
right.
I just think it's funny every time you have to quote tweet one of your tweets, and you're like, guys, are we idiots here or what? Like, it's basically what you have to say every time.
Like, are y'all not watching the same thing that I'm watching? Yeah.
Yeah, hey, you don't have to trauma respond to every tweet, okay? Like,
I think it's funny, and I want everyone on Rockets Twitter to keep doing it to show
it is
Oh
mostly funny. What were we talking about? Klingon.
Yeah,
I think it's because this draft was so weird as far as like who's actually the best player and then who actually fills out the rest of the draft from there. That teams kind of drafted by need more than they usually would for the top end.
I mean, Risha usually it's POA. Like, he was supposed to go like 2 or 3. So even maybe further than that. So
who was?
Risha Shea.
Oh, Risha Shea. Yeah. So it's like we kind of knew who the top 2 would be. We kind of knew the top 2 would be probably Reed Shepherd going 3, but maybe Klingon, maybe this, maybe that. Yeah. So,
good for everybody involved. Yeah,
I mean that dude is huge.
Every team, it feels like almost every team has a rookie that they like need, like the Jalen Wells method, just a guy who will just like tear you apart on defense and like can work on scoring. Of course, I don't know why I started talking about this guy, but every single rookie I feel like is just so like, I don't know. It feels rawer than years past, and of course that's like me coping for like it being less talented. But I don't know, like seeing the guys grow and seeing the guys like, you know, through 60 games, like all around the league, even like Zach Edey getting starting minutes, you're like, oh, this is kind of sick. This is why we league pass, folks.
That's why we league pass. Huge zing for me in Portland. Love it.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. We'll move to the East here, and I'd consider this an ethical rebuild. Of course, you look at the team and you're like, ugh, like this is just like weird, very, very strange. But the Toronto Raptors for me would be a slight zing. The roster is just constructed by a little baby who likes to play video games. And I can't say that it's working, but they're a fun team to watch. Scotty Barnes is an all-star caliber player when he is healthy, of course. And Brandon Ingram just sitting there. That's gonna be fun.
That's for
good
sure.
Vibes. Good vibes
on the team.
I can't do this anymore. The slight zing for me, but we had to talk about them. And boys, do we have any Toronto Raptors talk?
It's a 51-49% zing.
Yeah, there you go.
They have really good players on the team, but they don't win games, and it doesn't make any sense.
Not at all. I was saying pre-show, you put this team like let's say same scenario, 5-7 years ago, especially in the East, like they're winning 45 games. They're winning 48, 49 games.
They're like a 5 seed every season.
They're a 5 seed and they're playing against LeBron in the second round of the
and it's
Eastern
over immediately
playoffs, and they're just getting swept.
Yeah.
Like this is a team with like real talent. It's just like they're committing to the tank and like let them play it out, Like they're not going to be the worst team in the league, like, a Washington. Alexander Sarr, we love Fat Farm. But we love.
Are you a soundboard?
Gotta love Toronto over there. I think that team will be fine eventually.
The 51st state.
They're a good league pass team. Jakob Poeltl, top 14 center in the league. I'm stamping it.
Okay.
Oh dang, you just put your credentials on the line.
Josh,
that's crazy.
Stamp.
Top 14.
Several teams would trade a first round pick for him. So
yes.
I mean, that's why I think it's like you're saying he's not the bottom half worst starting center.
I'm put a stamp on it. I'm not here to say that LeBron James is the best player of all time, even though I believe that. Like I'm here to just say things that are objectively true. That's all. I'm not moving the needle today as I normally would.
Yeah, it's a zang for me, boys. It's a zang for me on the Raptors being ethical. I respect you, but I strongly disagree. And this is why I don't strongly disagree, because I agree they have like good young players, and they are, as far as the players on the roster go, they're headed in the right direction, but the management of the team makes it feel pretty unethical to me. Like just constantly trading first round picks for guys who like you don't really need and aren't really servicing the team and what it's trying to do. Like trading for Jakob Poeltl last year, pointless. Not trading him this year, pointless.
Even more pointless.
Yeah. Like get off. If people will give you a first round pick and maybe even a play, I don't know, like just do it. You don't need him.
They do need to
They
fully
kept
commit to it. They're kind of like
Yes,
staying
that's
around.
that's it. They're trying to do this weird middle thing.
I'll
I don't
give
know
you
what
that.
Messiah is thinking. And then trading for Brandon Ingram just feels like, what the heck is going on here?
That threw me off so bad when that happened. I was like, surely this is like a 3-team deal. Like he's not gonna stay there. But lo and behold, he's there. And they signed an extension.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys follow Esbar Henny, who's like a huge Raptors guy. He does some work with the Athletic, but
Nope.
he's like he's pretty tactful about how he talks about the Raptors, where he's like super excited to root for them, talk about them, whatever. But then he is also at the deadline always just like, I don't even know why I try. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is the point?
Oh my god.
So I feel for guys like that. So it's a Zang for me, but I do like the players.
The Kawhi trade
young
gave
one.
Messiah a lifetime contract. I'm convinced of it.
That's right. That's how it's going to work out for Nico, I think. Rumors are saying.
No,
I'll
allegedly.
kill myself.
Oh Jesus
No,
Christ.
never.
No, don't do it.
Never,
Don't kill yourself, babe.
This is not why we league pass, boys.
Jesus.
All right, let's get to the Zangs.
Life is I just want to say life is worth living when you see lineups of some of your favorite players in there. I was watching the Jazz Timberwolves game off. I think both of them were playing back-to-backs. And Anthony Edwards was out, Gobert was out. It was gross. Bryce Sensabaugh, Keontae George, and KJ Martin, as well as Walker Kessler, was on the court at the same time in crunch time. That was like one of the highlight moments of my week. I can't lie to you. Yeah.
Whenever Callie and I, that's my wife. Whenever my wife and I
name drop
Borat voice, my wife. Whenever my wife and I didn't have a kid and she would go out of town for work and stuff like that, I would always make it a point to go to Jack in the Box at like 9 or 10 in the evening and get a munchie meal.
Sure.
And I feel like what you just described as far as league pass goes is the equivalent of that. Like no one is responsible for you. No one is keeping you in line, making sure you do what you're supposed to. And you're just like, I'm going to watch Keontae George and Bryce Sensabaugh play against Jaden McDaniels for 48 minutes.
That's that dude. I have never felt more free. And I thank God for NBA League Pass. We have some rights in this world. I'd say water. I'd say electricity would be rights. Depends how you look at it. And Bryce Sensabaugh on NBA League Pass is a human right. So I'm just happy that we're here, boys. And you have full control of your life. Unless you have many factors making it not the case. But for me, I am as free as a bird, baby. Cue the guitar solo.
That's right.
We'll get to the unethical ones here though.
Zangs.
The Zangs, of course. The Brooklyn Nets are a complete Zang to me. And it's unfortunate because at the beginning of the show, pre-show, I was sitting here like, it's kind of funny that D'Angelo Russell is kind of guiding the ship a little bit. Dennis Schroeder, whenever he's healthy. Cam Thomas has been pretty much inoperable for the past 3 months, but it looks like he's coming back on a minutes restriction, which is great. This team is not great. This team sucks, and I cannot believe that they're not at the bottom of the standings, especially when you have a Cooper Flag year. This feels like a Zion type year, once every 5 years type draft class coming up, especially with Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, of course. Just to name a few guys. I love VJ Edgecombe highlights. That's that talk about a downhill guard. Just no regard for human life. I can't wait to see him in Portland. I'm gonna manifest that. VJ Edgecombe in Portland is gonna save lives and maybe make the city start to rethink its own identity in a good way, of course. But when it comes to Brooklyn, I'm disgusted. I hate this basketball team, and I wish Cam Johnson would just get out of the depths of hell of basketball over there. Boys, do we have any thoughts about Brooklyn?
Yeah, when you trade Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant for several first-round picks, you would think like you'd have at least one guy there. You're like, okay, this is nice. We have this guy. Now we need to start accumulating more guys to go around this guy. They don't have that guy yet. I know it's only been 2 drafts since the trades, but nothing's happened there yet, and it's pretty gross. And it's not like technically as bleak as it could have been because they have their own picks now and they can just stink and they can go draft someone, but you also have to depend on the lottery. The Nets The funniest thing is at the All-Star game, the LeBron team, Shaq's OG's team or whatever, it was LeBron in the middle, and then it was 3 Nets draft picks and then 3 Nets former players,
That's right.
which was very funny that they had a full All-Star team of Nets players.
That's bleak.
Yeah, that is why this is a Zang, an immediate Zang. It's 100% Zang.
God.
Yeah.
Gross ball.
I think, and this is sort of getting ahead of another one on our list, but it goes all the way back, and I'm going to keep bringing up the 20 whatever Kenny Atkinson Brooklyn Nets that were super fun for one series, and then they immediately just like blew it up by trying to get too good too fast, and it didn't work, and now they're back to being like not good enough for anything. They just got their picks back, so maybe it'll clean up now, but now they can't lose. Like, they're just good enough to where they can't lose enough games to have the best odds to get Flag or Harper or whoever. And they might get lucky. It might work out. And there's still, 20-something games left. But, yeah, I just not a fan of the way they've handled it.
Nope.
But respect to the guys on the Nets roster that they're trying to hoop. Like, they're trying to win. So good for them, even though
there is some real hoopers. There's definitely some real hoopers on that team, and that's what matters from a league pass, from a fan perspective. But from an organizational standpoint, what in the hell are we doing? This is gross. I'm not a fan.
I don't think anyone knows.
No. Any closing thoughts on the Nets? I think that's all I got.
I think we should move on.
And I think we should move on too. We'll go ahead and go to the maybe the grossest team in the NBA with some of the best players allegedly in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns. This is disgusting that I have to witness. I love Bol, let's be clear, but he should not be starting on what should be a playoff team right now. It's great that he's playing good. He's awesome. I love Bol, but if you're playing Bol this much and you want me to think that you are like a playoff team or someone that can like actually compete when you are supposed to have two, let's just say two. We'll not put Bradley Beal in this. 5 years ago, Bradley Beal was a top 10 NBA player. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they should be top 10, top 15, maybe top 20 NBA players. Like, what gives? We talked about this in the offseason. We were like, oh, they're not going to have a bench. They're not going to have a bench. And now you're playing 35 Ryan Dunn minutes a game. Now you're playing 30 Bol minutes a game. And you expect me to sit here and think that you're serious? You're not. This is disgusting. This is a complete and utter Zang. I hate this. I love you, Bol. Come to Houston Rockets, please.
And then in the recent days, we've learned something new about the Suns is that Coach Bud told Devin Booker to basically calm down.
Yeah,
like stop yelling. I don't know what that was.
Vocally tone it down. They said,
yeah,
tone it down.
We would like less leaders on our team, actually.
So that's good. Kevin Durant knows he's going to be traded in the offseason, and the organization knows that they're going to trade him in the offseason. And Coach Bud is then telling your last superstar left on a team that has been there for almost a decade at this point, like, hey, can we just chill out for a minute?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean chill out? Like, you're 4 or 5 games under 500 at this point. You're 1 game above Portland, who we all thought was going to be one of the worst, probably 5 teams in the NBA this season. Like, what do you mean tone it down? No, turn it up. Go harder. Like, do more.
Louder.
Get more mad.
Yell more. Like, do all of the things in order to like hype this team up to win games to get into a play-in spot so that we can maybe compete for a playoff spot and then get swept again. Like, it's utter chaos in Phoenix, and it's very funny to watch. I know my team's in utter chaos as well, and
for different reasons.
It's different reasons, but it's seemingly better than this. Like, I would be I think I'd be more angry as a Suns fan right now than I am as a Mavericks fan. And we just traded away the top 3 basketball player the next 10 years. So like, I would be more angry as a Suns fan.
The Suns have the highest payroll in the NBA. And they pay the biggest, which I guess makes sense given their payroll. But the payroll is so high that they're also paying by far the biggest tax bill. It's like over
they're really number 1 in the payroll.
Yeah, because of the luxury.
Sure.
Yeah,
because I thought they were like top 5. I didn't think they were number 1.
Maybe the tax bill is what makes them so high. But
they are stupid.
Their tax bill is like the highest in the league by a wide
they're like
margin.
a 3-year offender of the tax bill, so it gets higher every season that you're in it.
Yeah. So. which is part of the reason why they've been so handcuffed in adding to the roster. But maybe you shouldn't have put together such an egregiously expensive roster whenever you already had fun young guys trying to compete.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just the whole rush the rebuild thing is going to age really poorly. I feel like almost every team that has tried it, except for like the Lakers, but that's weird. That's like not the same because they had LeBron already, so it doesn't really.
Yeah, LeBron went over there.
Yeah, LeBron went in free agency, so that's different.
And they took a full year before they did anything crazy.
Yes,
a year and a half.
That's true. Yeah, the whole rest of the rebuild thing is just like it's going to age so bad, and I think teams are starting to see it. Like I think the Rockets see it, and they're like, okay, we're gonna hold our pieces for a while, and Thunder obviously are kind of like that, even though they're way ahead. But Magic too. Anyway, yeah, it's bad, horrible. One of the worst like organizational turns I can remember seeing in my lifetime, as far as like mismanagement from the beginning of the plan to the end. They just totally dropped the ball.
And the best part is that when they trade KD, he's going to be 37 years old. You're not going to recoup a lot of assets out of that.
Yep.
Like you probably get a first round pick and then a player, maybe two, to match salaries. Like you're not going to get anything crazy for KD, even though you traded 6 total first round picks for him, 4 picks and 2 swaps, I believe.
Jesus.
So the only way to recoup more assets outside of having your picks, essentially, right? Or no, y'all have the picks.
Yep.
In Houston,
We
so they
have
don't have
3
their
of them.
picks.
3 or 4? It's 3. Okay.
We have this year's and then 2 future ones, and then I think we might have the rights to 1 swap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't have your own first round pick. So the only way to recoup any assets essentially is to trade Devin Booker.
Yep.
Which is your franchise cornerstone. He's been there forever. He's probably a fan favorite, I would assume, in Phoenix. Like everyone loves him. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to get. I don't know what you can get for Devin Booker because Luka Doncic got 1 first round pick. So anything can happen, but you're not getting more than probably 4 first round picks for Devin Booker. And even then, you're probably still losing out on first round picks from what you've traded for Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, etc. Like you're not getting what you need out of it, but you're going to have to do it essentially in order to completely rebuild. Because I guess if you trade KD, you're not going to be able to trade Beal, so you're still kind of salary handicapped. Like maybe you get into the first apron at that point, but you're not.
I'm going to pull a Colin Cowherd here and try to close my eyes and think of what a Devin Booker haul would look like, and I don't see anything. I don't know what that could be.
I don't see him. I don't see him at all.
I don't see him. That was an elite clip. I think sports journalism is back. Cowherd is back.
Did you see Colin Cowherd talking to? It's football talk, but the Teron Armstead, the left tackle for the Miami Dolphins, and he goes, "So who are you gonna sign a deal with this season?" He's like, "Well, I've decided to restructure my contract, so I'm taking my contract down to a minimum so we can help the Dolphins get more players." He goes, "So are you gonna sign a contract with them?" And he goes, "So my contract I restructured." Like he's literally under contract for another season with the Miami Dolphins, and Colin Cowherd just did not understand that and did not do any research on him when they have a full-on picture of Teron Armstead as a Miami Dolphin right behind him too on the screen. Like impeccable.
Shout out Centel doing the Lord's work.
Good there you go. That's
good
right. It's sports. Look, hey, all I'm saying, NBA Centel, push the needle to where it needed to go, and sports journalism is just going to keep being more and more silly every day. This is why we Twitter. This is why we League Pass.
This is why we Centel.
I love this. I love this shit. This is why we Centel.
Big Zang for Phoenix
commercial.
Big Zang for Phoenix, and we can move on to the next Phoenix.
Oh my god. Yeah,
next
wow,
team,
we're 40 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna call it a day after this last team.
Yeah, let's go to the Charlotte Hornets over here. Disgusting team, disgusting basketball. I'm using the same adjectives I've used for the last 2 teams, but this is gross. LaMelo Ball is still playing hilarious. Not as efficient as he wasn't really efficient.
He never has.
He wasn't really efficient. Let's be clear.
That's why he's not an all-star.
Let's be clear. But he's especially been stinking over the past couple of weeks and just making that team look even more and more bleak. Mark Williams, bright spot, but he is made of glass as well. that whole
Revenge tour
saga. Yeah, that whole saga leading into the Mark Williams revenge tour. That's real basketball, real hoops. So maybe Mark Williams is ethical if he can continue to be healthy.
Got owned by Moses Brown the other night. 10-day contract, not a big deal.
Cannot believe Moses
it
Brown.
happens to all of us.
Oh my God.
Look,
it does.
Someone's name is Moses. Like, what are you gonna do? That's tough.
7 foot,
bro.
like 7 feet tall. Like, what are you gonna do?
For the
What are you
YouTube
gonna
viewers,
do?
he just does this in the paint, and everybody just moves. Yeah, there you go.
Pretty much.
That's Bible talk with Josh.
Shout out Bible.
Shout out Bible. Oh yeah, I don't got anything else about Charlotte. They
Off the
stink.
rails.
They have very bad people in that organization.
Very bad.
They're very bad people. Nope.
They're in third time.
Not again.
No.
I think you hit your quota. I think you're done.
The Hornets, the only reason that you can look at this team and just be like, well, it's okay, is because Brandon Miller's out for the season, so you didn't really get to see him this year, and you're like, at least we got that guy coming back next year. But you have a bad power forward on your team that wears number 0. LaMelo Ball's hilarious, but not objectively not like a franchise cornerstone that you should give $260 million to. But
no,
I'm not in charge. No, it's not great. Bring back Jordan. Just make Jordan the owner again.
Yeah, bring back Jordan, then they'll be in.
Then you can blame it on him again. That'd be funny.
They did
perennially average. God, I can't speak.
They did just sign one of the very few players to score 50 points in recent years.
Malachi Flynn. We did a whole episode on that as well, and we couldn't remember his name.
Does that immediately make it an ethical rebuild?
Oh no!
People are saying. Are saying that's.
Hey,
bad.
I'm just asking the hard-hitting questions. This is what people are wondering.
All right, Colin.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can't remember what that guy looks like, but when I close my eyes and someone says 50 burger Malachi Flynn, I know exactly what he looks like.
I'm looking at Corey Brewer like a deer in the headlights.
I can see that red goatee.
Oh, former Hornet though, by the way, Kai Jones, Dallas Maverick for 10 days.
We're back, baby.
He's Dallas Maverick for the next 10 days.
There's a center on the roster.
We have 2 10-day contract centers on the roster and Dwight Powell, so things are looking up.
Things are great,
buddy. Yep, 10 seed Mavericks just squeeze into the play-in. That's all I ask. I want to see this team in a playoff atmosphere.
If AD comes back, we're getting out of the 10 seed, and it'll be fine.
Okay.
That's probably true. I think.
That is
when was
true,
the last time you guys looked at the Hornets' complete roster, like from top to bottom?
The other night when we played them.
Okay, because it's depressing.
It's so bad.
Haven't they lost? I think they've lost 20 out of their past 21 or something.
And they beaten the Mavericks and the Lakers in that in that time span.
I believe it. The only thing I liked about this team to start was that Trey Mann seemed like he could be an exciting sixth man, and he was kind of doing the whole Iverson thing, which was a little corny, but I was like, hey, more power to him. And now he's gone, back injury. Brandon Miller, I couldn't care less about, but the rest of the roster,
Trey Mann had it Toyota Center. I just had to share that. That night he had, remember the season debut, the first game of the year?
How am I going to forget?
Crazy that night.
He did go nuts.
So he always has that, I guess.
Yusuf Nurkic, though, speaking of the Suns, I forgot he's on the Hornets.
Good for him. Back, God.
Good for him. He got out of the Phoenix job, so he could go work for LaMelo Ball.
Oh no, LaMelo Ball is your boss.
This is the darkest timeline. I
hate it. Man. Remember when Nurkic and Jokic were comparable?
Yes.
Remember that year or two?
Well, they played on the same team.
Yep, there you go. People forget. That's right.
My mom met Yusuf Nurkic in the hotel in Atlanta before the Portland Trail Blazers Atlanta Hawks game that me and my mom went to back in 2017, February, March of 2017. We were staying in the hotel, and she's walking down the hallway, and she saw this tall guy, and she goes, "Are you a basketball player?" And he goes, "Yeah." And she's like, "Can I take a picture of you and send it to my son?" Just a picture of Yusuf Nurkic in front of the elevator. My mom's nowhere to be found. She's behind it and just.
Oh no!
Oh, can I take a picture of you? That's even better.
Not even with him, and he's just standing there with his phone. And he's
Oh,
deadpan into the camera. I will send it in the group chat.
I need that picture.
It's an all timer from Mama Strankman. What time?
My favorite digital footprint moment of Yusuf Nurkic recently was after the Rockets played the Bucks, and Brook Lopez threw up a 30+ foot 3-pointer near the end in clutch time. And all of the Bucks fans on Twitter were like losing their mind, just blaming the entire game on him. And someone was like, "See what Dame could do when he played with a center with any amount of IQ." And it was a highlight reel of him and Yusuf Nurkic.
No.
I was like, "No, the bar is so low."
No,
That's how you know
nasty.
someone's in the depths of hell, when they're like, "I
Oh
wish
my
I had
God.
Yusuf Nurkic."
I miss when the Rockets had a real point guard like Nick Johnson. Oh no! What are we talking about?
Thank
Ty
you to
Lawson,
America's
dude.
#1 Bloody Mary mix, Zing Zang, for presenting that.
The 40-minute segment.
I
We
don't
love you,
know
Zing
what
Zang.
that. I don't know what that was, but shout out to Zing Zang for sponsoring this
40
episode and that segment of
40
whatever
minutes
that
of Bloody Mary, baby.
Oh, that's
whatever that
right.
was. We need some Bloody Marys after that. The ready to drink cans, Bloody Mary mix. We need those on deck. We'll call it there. That's a solid 45 minutes.
Oh my God!
Something that happened today. That's Zero Gravity's experience. You know, you never know where it's going to take you. Every episode, you never know where Josh is going to lead us to.
Nope.
I want to thank our sponsors. J-Bar M. J-Bar M Barbecue is just a couple blocks away from Toyota Center. They got $2 wells, $5 margaritas, $16 bottomless mimosas all the time. We love J-Bar M Barbecue over here. And shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Paul's Wing Joint, and shout out to Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. Go get it today wherever you get Zing Zang from. Boys, we'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Zero Gravity. Are there any last words before we get out of here?
Sheldon, give me a number.
7.
Oh, Jalen Green has scored 30.7 more than 7 times this season.
The Rockets are undefeated when he scores 30. The last thing I'll say is that since we last talked, I have finally finished reading Harry Potter for the first time. And man,
Nice.
Worth every second. I've already started the first book over again.
Damn, that's a beautiful thing. Literature is important. That's why I go on cron.com every day.
Not sponsored, but if you would like to sponsor, have at it. Hit my
Hey, if you need my
not a
resume,
joke.
cron.com,
Not a joke.
Chronicle, let me know. I provide lots of awesome things.
We'll get
This
you
does.
plenty
Like
of new
the Zing
users
Zang
on
segment.
cron.com. We'll get you plenty of new users. Yeah, just check out our Zing Zang ethical versus non-ethical rebuilds segment if you want to know what it's like to have a sponsor on this episode. Thanks, boys. We'll be back very, very soon. Make sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you listen to or watch podcasts on Apollo HOU's YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. So it does us a wonder. It's a delightful time if you hit the subscribe button. We would appreciate it. We'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast.